imagine that we're all zoologists. You guys want to get the light? So imagine that we're all zoologists. You guys know what zoologists are? People who study animals. My 8-year-old would be going crazy pretending to be zoologists. But imagine we're zoologists and we're studying a species. And over a short period of time, the species shifted to where 93% of the species started to develop metabolic disease, lifestyle-induced disease. So if we were studying the species and we saw that 93% of the species was developing metabolic disease, what would we think about as far as the future well-being of that species? Not good. Unfortunately, that is a true statistic for the United States. Currently, 93% of the United States have some form of metabolic dysfunction or disease. Now, when you think about the reason why we do these seminars, it's because those statistics, the things that we're talking about, like the health of our state, it's probably not new to you, the idea that we're sicker than we've ever been. Do you guys recognize that? Right now, 5 out of 6 people die from heart disease or cancer in our current culture. Who has kids or grandkids? Raise your hand. This is the first time in human history where our children, that generation, is said to have a shorter life expectancy than us. That's crazy to think about. But our heart disease rates going down or up? Up. Every single year, more and more heart disease in younger and younger people. In fact, they did studies where they looked at autopsies of children that had died in accidents, and they saw that children as young as 5 years old already started to see plaquing in their artery. Cancer is said to increase by another 75% by 2030. Who knows what autism is? If autism follows its current trend, it's supposed to be 1 out of 2 somewhere in the 2030 range. That's crazy. If you want to know what it is that we do or why we do what we do, it's because we want to try and change these statistics. But again, it's just becoming more and more prevalent. We've been doing this seminar or this version of a seminar for the last 13 years, and even the stats in the last 10 years is astronomically different. So it used to be that 30% of the population was in the obese category. Now it's 41. Over 70% of the U.S. is overweight. And I want you guys to be very clear, I am not trying to make anybody feel bad. That's not the case, because I understand how hard it is to live healthy. It's easy to stop by Chick-fil-A, or it's easy to stop by McDonald's. It's very easy to do those things, and that happens. Or when you go home, it's hard to take the time to cook healthy food because we're all crazy busy, right? Yes or yes? Not just me, right? Everybody else is crazy busy too. It's very easy to make the bad choices and to live like our current culture. In fact, I had a slide I deleted, but it was a slide that said 75% of the food in our grocery stores is just junk. Processed, not real food, junk. Crazy to think. So I understand that it's hard to live healthy. It's easy to just stop by fast food. Yes or yes? In fact, who's ever thought about how expensive it is to eat healthy food? It's expensive to eat healthy food. Yes or yes? It's cheap to buy cheap food, but the problem is disease is significantly more expensive than the healthy food. Who's ever heard this saying that I'd rather pay the farmer than the pharmacist? Who's ever heard that saying? Who resonates with that? Yes. Okay. So just as we go through this, I want you guys to just understand the reason we do these events is because there's such a huge need. We don't really talk about what health is very often in our culture, do we? Who's ever been to an event like this outside of my office? Cool, one person out of the entire group. So everybody stand up real quick. So really quickly, I want you to run in place for 10 seconds as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3, go. Run. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 move your feet. Okay, stop. Start, go. Go, 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 go. All right, stop. So who wants to learn more about their health in the next hour and a half than they've learned in the last 20 years? Say aye.
Aye.
Who wants to learn more about how to understand and move their metabolic switches to become fat-burning machines? Say aye.
Aye.
Who wants to be able to walk away with the information to lose 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds in the next 30, 40, 60 days? Say aye.
Aye.
Who wants to learn how to minimize or avoid your chances or your family's chances to develop 90% of the diseases that we see in this country? Say aye.
Aye.
Sit down. I have 2 rules. How many rules?
2.
Rule number 1 is have fun. I want you guys to enjoy our time here, okay? Number 2 is participate. Raise your hand, shout out an answer. Every study ever done about learning or retaining information has to do with engagement. The harder you play in here, the more you'll retain. So if you don't want to just have a good experience, but if you actually want to learn stuff and retain stuff and be able to implement that stuff, please make sure you're engaging. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your metabolism? It's more about weight. It's more than just weight loss. Your metabolism is about every physiological function in your entire body. In fact, one of the big things that your metabolism affects is your aging. Who wants to age gracefully? Who wants to be able to age like, say, Brad Pitt? Or Angelina Jolie? Or Jennifer Aniston? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Understanding how to influence your metabolism not only is going to help you melt weight off or avoid the disease processes, but it's going to help you look and age gracefully. An example of the opposite of that is, who knows a smoker where they look like they're 30 years older than they really are. They have like deep wrinkles. Yes? Yes? So the toxic effect of the cigarette or the smoke damages this DNA and it accelerates the metabolic dysfunction. Okay, so it's not just about nutrition. This is important. This is not just a nutrition or weight loss seminar, even though the information will help you do those things. It's a longevity, it's a health seminar. Because there's a lot of junk out there that can cause you to lose weight. Who's ever heard of Ozempic? Now, I'm not harping on anybody if you've ever done it, but it's an easy button. And it's very scary. In fact, Ozempic, the company that created that, is not in the US, it's not a US company. It is not allowed to be used for weight loss in the country of origin it was created in. In fact, the US is one of the very few countries that actually is allowed to be used for weight loss. Does everybody feel like our pharmaceutical company is here to really help us?
No.
Or the FDA?
No.
What about the food industry?
No.
No, again, most of the food in the supermarket is all junk. In fact, this is one of the, and I don't know where you feel you are in the conspiracy theory line of things, but it boggles my mind that some of the things that are in food is even allowed. Just like the effects of medication. Like, obviously you've seen TV before. What's most of the commercials all about? Pharmaceutical drugs, right? And when you watch the event, when you watch the commercial, it's like, oh my gosh, you have dry, itchy eyes. Here, take this, but like you might bleed out of your butt. Like, I might just take the itchy eyes. We'll pass on that. But you hear all these negative, crazy things that the drug will cause, but they have like beautiful little butterflies floating in the background, and they're saying it really fast and monotone. And people still take it. How crazy is that? Oh my gosh. So we would all agree that the systems are kind of broken. Yes or yes? What I'd like to do is to help pull you out of that model and into a max living model of health care or approach to health. Who knows what the definition of insanity is? It is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So how in the world could we think that we will not end up with the heart disease, the cancers, the diabetes, like everyone else is, if we don't live dramatically different than they do? So one of the things that we used to say in Max Living when patients start care and they start to like dive into the culture is that we want to help them divorce the medical model. Now, I'm not saying that like there's not a time and place for crisis care. If you get hit by a car and you're bleeding out of your aorta, do not come here. We don't have Band-Aids here, okay? Go to an emergency room. If you have a heart attack, go to the emergency room. You might get put on a medication and it might save your life in a crisis. However, the practice of medicine is not to get you healthy. It is to treat your disease. It might save your life in a crisis, but it's not designed to get you healthy. If you have diabetes and you go to the medical doctor and you get put on metformin, what will you always have for the rest of your life? Diabetes with metformin. It's not meant to help you get healthy, it's meant to treat your disease. However, if you go to a healthcare facility where we focus on building your health, not treating your symptom, the health is the outcome. And if type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle-induced disease, guess what we can do to reverse it? And I do mean reverse it. Like, does everyone recognize that your body's created to heal? This is important. Your body is created to heal. You have to believe that. But we have to stop causing the damage that's causing the disease process. So again, just metabolic disorders. These are signs that there's metabolic disorders. So high cholesterol, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, thyroid dysfunction, PCOS, infertility issues, Cushing's disease, cancers, fatty liver disease, and that can be non-fat, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, arthritis, chronic pain. Who knows someone that has something like that? If you're not raising your hand, you're either not participating or you're lying. And yes, we have a packed house, and I'm so glad that you came. But how many people really need to start learning this kind of content? Everybody does, especially if they want to avoid the sickness and disease. So I'm super glad that you're here, and I hope that you do, to some extent, the challenge or part of the challenge, because if you get results, it's very easy to help someone else say, hey, look what I'm doing, you should do this too. Warning signs: fatigue, thyroid issues, suppressed appetite, cold hands and feet, low libido, PMS or bloating issues, anxiety, depression, hair loss, brittle nails, insomnia, infertility, irritability, and obesity. Again, the list just goes on and on. Almost every disease process is linked to a metabolic dysfunction. In fact, if I was trying to talk you into coming today, one of the lines I probably use is, if everybody came to this event and did what I talk about in this event, I would not have to do the other events. Heart disease seminars, cancer seminars, diabetes seminars. I wouldn't have to do those if people just did this. Yes? So again, the purpose and the reason that we do this is because so many people out there need help. I've seen it in my own family, where people fall victim to the medical gauntlet. They don't feel good, they go to the doctor because that's who you're told to go see. And they get put on a drug. And they might feel better, which is really scary because then they think they're what? Better. But obviously the cause of the problem is still there, not to mention all the side effects to the medication, so they get put on more medications, and then you have this crazy like snowball effect. In fact, the average medication, the average person in the US takes around 12 medications, which is crazy because I take 0. Well, that means somebody else has to take 24. So the mission in Max Living, and Max Living is not our office. Max Living is a network of chiropractors, a network of healthcare providers that is literally trying to change the way that people view and manage their health. My job today is to empower you to take control of your own health, because your health is whose responsibility? It is yours. But our culture is not health promoting. It's the quick fixes, it's the quick food, it's the medication. And I understand that it's easy. But I want to inspire you to do something different, to live different, to feel different, to have different kinds of energy. Max Living is the 5 essentials. The 5 essentials of health. And every single health category under the sun falls under one of these 5 essentials. And they're all called essentials for a reason. You can't pick and choose. It's not a menu. If you're missing one, you have a blind spot and there's an opportunity for disease to build. Now, you've heard that pain is a motivator. Who's ever heard the saying of like the pain of change versus pain of staying the same? Who's heard of that? Raise your hand, I need you to participate. Okay. So for those that didn't raise their hand and you are participating, the idea is this. Most people do not change because the act of changing is difficult. And people only change if where they're at is painful enough. I'll give you a really good example. Do you think that most people come to see us as a chiropractic clinic because they feel good or because they feel bad? And it's not like they just felt bad, it's that they have been feeling bad to a point where they just can't take it anymore. Yes? Yes? I mean, some of you probably started like that too. You just either didn't know what to do or didn't want to do because taking the time to go see someone out of your busy schedule, whether you had to take time off of work or time away from your family, or the idea of like spending money. Like, those things are hard to do, and it's easy to just sit there and tough it out until you what? Until you can't. And so the pain of change versus pain of staying the same. We don't want you to have to wait till you have the diagnosis to make a change. Because I'm sure all of you feel this way. If you or someone you love get diagnosed with cancer, for most of us, we think that it's a death sentence. Yes or yes? Yes. Your health becomes a very big priority if you get the diagnosis. Yes or yes? Yes. There's an idea that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to come back to this. It's called the left of bang. Who's ever heard of this book or the idea? So the bang meaning an event that changed the course of action. 9/11, bang. It radically changed how we protect ourselves, or like, especially like the airlines. Yes, like if you went on planes pre 9/11, very different than post 9/11. Yes or yes? Yes. Do you know why they have like armed guards at churches? It's because there was a bang. Something happened bad, and now they said, oh, we need to have protection, armed guards at church because there was a bang that happened. Does that make sense? Yes. Same thing with schools. Bang happened, Columbine. Now we look at schools very differently than we did before. Tornadoes here, yeah, bang. Like, so the idea is that if this is a timeline, here's the event, it's the bang. And then we make changes. Our goal is to be left of bang. We want to change left of bang. We want to make changes before the event happens. Okay? So that's what the 5 essentials are going to help us do, is stay left of bang. Pre-disease, pre-diagnosis. Now, what influences our metabolism? Some things we can affect, some things we can't. So, age. Can anybody change how many candles are on the birthday cake? I haven't figured it out either, so I don't feel bad. Genetics. Can you change your genetics? Yes, you can. Oh, I did that as a trick. Epigenetics. It is the genetic expression. You might not be able to change your blueprint, but you can change what they are expressed. Here's your example. If you have a blueprint to build a building, the blueprints are the blueprints, but the materials you use determine the health of the building, correct? Yeah. So if you use really cheap building materials, you're going to get a cheap, unstable building, yes? Okay, so what we do to ourselves will be able to express your genetic makeup, okay? So that's important to understand. So if you do not have heart disease genes but you eat McDonald's every day, guess what you're going to find? You're going to find heart disease genes, okay? Now, just because you have a lot of genetic predispositions in your family doesn't mean you can't influence if those genes get turned on or off. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So, these are the metabolic switches. So when we talk about influence your metabolism, these are some of the main players. And a lot of what we're going to talk about is in reference to these. You have your insulin, your glycogen, your leptin, your ghrelin, your cortisol. Insulin is the fat storing hormone. Who's heard of insulin? Okay. Most of what I talk about when it comes to food or nutrition is going to be related to the idea if insulin goes up or not. Okay, because if you eat food and insulin goes up, guess what you're doing? You're storing fat. If you have this killer workout and just crushed it, and then you have a Gatorade that has a bunch of high fructose corn syrup in it, and your insulin goes up, guess what happens? Your whole workout just got ruined because now you turned all of your fat burning hormones off. So if you work out and you're in this like crazy like burning calorie mode, and then you consume sugar, you're instantly turning those hormones off. Leptin is the fat burning hormone. It's also the hormone that tells you if you're full or not. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone. It's also like an activation hormone. And then cortisol is a stress hormone, which also causes your body to store fat. Okay? So these are things that we have to learn how to control or influence. And if you master the ability to influence these hormones, you will become a fat burning machine, and there's no way you can stay in the same pant size. It is impossible. Okay? So this is just an example. We had someone who really just did a good job with the challenge last year. I want you to understand that it's possible. So this is Brian. Everyone say hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
He was going to come today, and I told him I was using this picture, and he was like, "Nope, not going." I'm just kidding. I'm just throwing him on the bus right there. He didn't want to be here today, but he crushed it last year, and he lost 20 pounds in the first 3 weeks just following what I'm talking about. Crazy part is it didn't even really work out, which whole other side of the fence. But it's just how much your nutrition and understanding how to play and control these hormones work. But I show you this not to brag on Brian. I show you this because if he can do it, who can do it? Everyone say I.
Aye.
If he can do it, who can do it?
Aye.
Yes, you can do it. You have all the influence. Again, there might be certain things that hold you back, and some of them might be planning or action or motivation. But again, that's what the event is here, but it's also what the challenge is for. Okay? So this is another part of it. It's not a weight loss seminar, it's a health seminar. So I can teach you some really crazy fad diets that can cause you to lose weight, but that's not the goal, because I don't want you to take Ozempic or take a weight loss drug or the cookie diet or the Hollywood taco diet. I want you to not just take a diet, lose weight, and end up in a lighter coffin. I want you to lose weight because you're getting healthy. Do you understand the difference? This is a health seminar. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is what supports health versus what controls health. So everyone say support.
Support.
Everyone say control.
Control.
Which one's more important? Control health. So supports health versus controls health. And one of the things is you have to understand what health is versus what we are told it is. Okay? Because you've never sat down in a doctor's office and you were told this is what health is, this is how to check it, this is how to maintain it for the rest of your life and your family's life. And the reason they don't do that is because it's not their job. You cannot go to a medical doctor and expect them to teach you how to get healthy. It's not their job. It's like going to a mechanic and expecting them to check your teeth. You can't get mad at them for not checking your teeth. That's not their job. Their job is to treat you with drugs and surgery in a crisis situation. Does that make sense? So my job is to teach you how to be healthy, to empower you how to take care of your own health, okay? So when it comes to health and what controls health, it is not just about how we look or feel. Most people make the mistake on they base their health off of how they feel. Who's ever kind of thought that before? I'm healthy because I feel good. Or my kids are healthy because they're not like saying they have the symptom. Yes? Well, what are the major diseases that kill most Americans? What are the top scary ones? Heart disease, cancers, diabetes. They're all called the silent killers because you don't what? There's no symptom. Like the first symptom of heart disease is in most cases, the first symptom of heart disease is the heart attack. When do people get diagnosed with cancer? In stages what? Yeah, not 1. In stages 3 or 4. End stage. My mom was diagnosed with cancer and I'm not even kidding you, she was given the weekend to live. Whole other story I'm not going to get into. But she felt fine like a month before. End stage lung cancer. Okay? You cannot base your health off of how you look or how you feel. Because how you look, skinny people get cancer too. Okay? Now, I think that we should try to get to a healthy weight, but it's not to fit into our bathing suit, it's to be healthy though. Okay? So again, it's not just about weight loss or nutrition, it's about getting healthy. So health, technically, if you look at the World Health Organization Dictionary, health is defined by your body's ability to function and heal. Here's your idea. If your immune system functioned at 100%, can you get cancer? No. Because your immune system is killing cancer. And if it kills it at 100%, you don't develop cancer. Like bad cells will not turn into systemic cancer because your immune system is killing them. If your lungs function at 100%, can you have asthma? No, because that's what asthma is, dysfunction of the lungs. Can you have diabetes if your body self-regulates your blood sugar at 100%? No. Health is defined by your body's ability to self-regulate, to regenerate, to heal. Health is about healing, not about how we feel or how we look. Does that make sense? And that's one reason why drugs are dangerous. You feel bad, you take a drug, you feel better, you think but you're not. Disease is still there. Someone will say, we're doing this event on heart disease, and someone's like, oh, how's your blood pressure? Like, oh, it's really good. And then I found out they're on 2 different medications for blood pressure. They say their blood pressure is good because of the drug, not because they have good blood pressure. But that's how sometimes people think. So health is about how your body functions and heals. It's about how your body self-regulates. But there's one system and one organ in your body that regulates it all. It's your brain and nerve system. It's your central nervous system. It's what regulates your heart. So if you want to say like, what organ is most important, and you're like shouting out your liver, like yes, your liver is a big deal, but your nerve system controls if your liver is functioning or not functioning. If I cut all the nerves to the heart, what would instantly happen to your heart? Doesn't matter how healthy your heart is. Doesn't matter how young or how fit you are. If I cut the nerve to the heart, your heart is instantly dead. I don't care how much organic food you eat. Instead of a cut nerve, if there's some sort of stress or damage or interference in the communication pathway from your brain to your heart, if I damage that nerve going to your heart, does your heart function good or bad? What if you eat all organic? Doesn't matter. There's damage in the interference in the body's ability to self-regulate. Does that make sense? Yes. And so that's why one of the essentials is understanding how to take care of your spine and nerve system. Okay? That's why it's essential. You could do all the things right. Everything to teach heart disease, to like nutrition, exercise, supplementation, but if there's pressure on the nerve to your thyroid, you're still going to have weight issues. Okay? So understanding the interference that leads to the disease. So if your body's natural state is health, then we need to understand what interferes with that natural state. Okay, so thoughts, traumas, toxins, so emotional stress, physical stress, chemical stress. Now I'm going to talk about this specifically when it comes to metabolic function. So when we talk about chemical interference, understanding that there's two major sources of chemical interference. One of them is from food. Yes? Okay, so these are the most toxic foods. Frankenfoods or GMOs. Pesticides, which is just absorbent. Pesticides on a whole other level right now. Dangerous additives, hormones, antibiotics, and nitrates. Who knows what a nitrate is? So nitrate is the stuff they put in like meat to make it look good. It's illegal in most other countries. In fact, the American Cancer Society said that nitrates are unfit for human consumption. But again, they're in all the food in the grocery store. Now, not all food, but the food that has nitrates in it. So again, antibiotics, hormones, dangerous additives, these are things that we have to try to avoid at all costs. Yes or yes? Yes. 95% of all fat diets have failed. Who's ever had a diet and just failed? Raise your hand, don't be embarrassed, everybody else did it too. Okay, so again, this is not a diet. In fact, the Max Living Nutrition Plan used to be called an undiet, because it's not a diet, it's a way to live. It's a philosophy on how to look at food, okay? Here are the three major dangers when it comes to nutrition. Again, this is not a diet, this is just understanding the philosophy of healthy nutrition. Too many sugars, too many toxins, too many damaged fats, and not enough healthy fats. If I go too quick and someone wanted to write something down, this is another reason why you've got to be in the challenge, because I'm going to review this stuff and expand on content, okay? So, sugar is the anti-nutrient. It disrupts metabolic function. It is a cascade effect. When you consume sugar, what hormone goes up? Insulin, which stores what? So if you consume sugar, what can you not burn? Fat. It is the number one cause of obesity. It is the number one cause of inflammation. It is the reason you get high cholesterol. It creates acidity in your body, and 90% of all cancers have to have an acidic environment to thrive. In fact, it's a known toxin. Cancer cells have 8 times more receptor sites for sugar than a normal healthy cell does. So by definition, a cancer cell has a broken metabolism and it uses sugar for fuel. If you are eating sugar, it is literally like dumping gasoline on a fire when it comes to promoting the growth of sugar, okay? And this is, you know this because what's a PET scan? It's radioactive sugar. You eat this cocktail or drink it, and so the sugar goes to where the cancer is because the cancer eats it, and they take a picture and they can see where the cancer is. So if you eat sugar, you are just dousing a fire with gasoline, okay? What's worse than sugar? Fake sugar, okay? I don't know if people still like think that this is a good thing or not. However, if you look at like diabetic recommendations out of the hospital, they'll teach you to eat this and not sugar, which is crazy because this is linked more to obesity. Not to mention it's a neurotoxin and it is a known carcinogen. Not to mention you get GI issues and seizures and migraines, all sorts of stuff. Okay? In fact, the only reason we have gum over here is because I got tired of yelling at people to stop chewing gum because most gum has sucralose in it. It's the sugar-free stuff. So just don't do it or get a healthy gum. So what's the alternative to fake sugar or sugar? Stevia, xylitol, erythritol. Those are the things that I use. Those are natural sweeteners and they are not damaging or they're not promoting cancer or obesity. And they have very, very little effect on your insulin level. Okay? So Frankenfoods, so this is a big part of it. If I was to tell you to invest one more penny into like nutrition, it would not be on buying organic produce, it would be on buying healthier versions of meat. You have a toxic accumulation, so your quality matters. So you need to start shifting your animal products to grass-fed, free-range, or wild-caught. And here's kind of the main reason. It's the bioaccumulation of toxicity. So it takes 16 pounds of feed to create 1 pound of beef. So if the cow is eating GMO corn, inflammatory hay, or fed steroids and hormones and antibiotics, just know that you are consuming all of that. You've heard the saying, you are what you eat?
Yes.
Okay, so the real saying is you are what you ate. You are what you eat. Okay? So understand, if you're gonna buy some healthier food, try to get healthier meat, okay? Because that bioaccumulation. One of the biggest problems with that are the conventional beef or fish or whatever, is that the omega ratios are super inflammatory. So if you're consuming commercial beef, you're becoming very, very inflamed, which is a breeding ground for disease and weight loss resistance. Okay, so you gotta get that inflammation down. So this is one of the best things you can do, is eat better versions of meat. So GMO or the farm-raised salmon is like one of the worst things you could ever consume. They have to put pink dye into it because the animals are so sick. Yeah, it's just gross. Don't do it. Don't do it! Protein increases metabolic effect. This is kind of a cool thing to understand, but when you consume protein, you actually are burning more calories to digest it than you are consuming. So there's a thermogenic effect to eating protein. But again, quality matters, okay? So when you're consuming protein, you've got to make sure it's a great quality of protein, so that way you're not building disease or weight loss resistance, okay? One of the things about protein is that it increases satiety, however you say that word, makes you feel full. So one of the things you can do to help minimize your hunger is to eat more protein, especially in certain times of the day, to eliminate your hunger, okay? So one of the big things that I do consistently is I do smoothies. Who's ever done like a smoothie, like a protein smoothie? Does anybody do them consistently? So I do them consistently, and I do it in a way that breaks my fast, and I'll talk about fasting here in a little bit. But I do it because it limits my hunger, and it allows me to not want to eat junk, okay? So it's a really good thing to do. When you do that, you're also getting that thermogenic effect, so I'm burning more calories than I'm consuming. So more calories burnt than calories consumed equals weight loss. To some extent, that is a true story. So I do a smoothie every morning, it's more of like an afternoon morning to break my fast, but it's to increase my metabolic effect. Okay, so I do a smoothie every day. It tastes great. There's two different kinds. We have a bone broth, which is gonna be more for helping with maybe if you have a lot of gut issues, because it helps to rebuild gut lining. And then we have a whey protein. I tend to do more of the whey protein. I just like the taste. It's also a great way for my kids to make sure they're getting the nutrients that they need. So my little kid loves her smoothies, okay? Because they're all picky eaters, you know that, right? Not just mine? Okay. So missing ingredient, we've all been told that fat makes you fat, yes or yes? Okay, it's one of the biggest marketing ploys that ruined the culture of our health. In fact, once they started going with this low fat, no fat stuff, actually you saw heart disease and cancers explode. And so when they took the fat out, they actually put in a bunch of, guess what? Sugar and artificial ingredients. And so it led to more and more heart disease. So the actual reality is that fat is critical for almost every metabolic function. So fat doesn't make you fat. It's your body's inability to burn fat that makes you fat. Let me say that again. Fat does not make you fat. It is the body's inability to burn fat for fuel that makes you fat. Yes? Okay, so every cell layer in your entire body has a fat kind of, the outer layer of your cell is made of fat. It's called a lipid bilayer. If you have a deficiency in healthy fat, those cell outer linings get very thick and weak, and that's technically the brain of the cell. And so that cell will become inflamed, and you become inflamed, and then you become, guess what? Sick. If you are not consuming enough healthy fat, you are getting sick. It helps you absorb vitamins. So if you're in a low-fat diet, you're not absorbing the right amount of vitamins or minerals. It helps to regulate hormones. So if anybody has a hormonal issue, like low testosterone, it is because you're probably not consuming enough healthy fats, and you're not able to build testosterone. Healthy fat lowers your inflammation levels, which again helps with detoxification of your cells. It makes up 70% of your brain tissue. One of the other things you saw skyrocket when we started taking healthy fat out of our nutrition is things like dementia. Okay, so if you want to preserve your brain function, make sure you're eating lots of healthy fat. Okay? And obviously it's critical for burning fat, which we'll talk about. Now there are good and bad fats though, okay? So here's examples of good fats. It's your extra virgin olive oil, your coconut oil, it's your avocado oil. Those are the things that I cook with, like avocado oil or coconut oil. Low smoke heat is your extra virgin olive oil. Raw nuts, seeds, real butter, raw if best. So non-pasteurized, grass-fed beef. Eggs are fantastic. It's one of God's perfect proteins. Fatty fish, so wild caught. And then the examples of the bad oils are anything hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated. Cottonseed, soybean, and vegetable oil. Vegetable oil sounds good though, right? It's made from vegetables. Oh, I totally bought that lie when I was younger. I thought like, oh, vegetables, gotta be good. It's terrible for you. It creates significant inflammation in your body. Your body builds disease, not to mention it creates a ton of weight loss resistance. So another big one that you gotta understand is canola oil. They used to market this as a good oil. It's not, it's terrible. Okay, so trans fats, things like that, we gotta make sure we're staying away from. And unfortunately, in almost every boxed food, you're gonna see these trans oils, or these damaged oils. Okay, so being able to identify the difference. So increase good, decrease bad. Yeah, that was an easy one, that was like a softball. Okay, max living approach to the nutrition. Now, in your packet, you guys have that sheet of paper that, right here. This is basically walking you through the nutrition plans. Now there's lots of other resources online. We have some books as well that kind of walk you through the difference between the core plan and the advanced plan. And then there's also a recipe book right here. For anybody who gets the bundle today, I'm going to give you a free recipe book. Okay? Because one of the reasons people don't eat healthy is because they what? They don't know how to do it. They cook like mom cooked. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through that as well. Those are two main nutrition protocols in the advanced plan. You have your core plan and your advanced plan. Everyone say core. Core. This is your like lifestyle approach. This is what you want to do on a regular basis. This is going to build a healthy relationship with food, teach you how to eat. This is you and your whole family nutrition. The advanced plan is more about a healing diet. It is to restore your health. It's to regulate hormones. It is to detoxify the body. It's to reduce inflammation. It's to overcome weight loss resistance. Okay? It is a diet that's not necessarily meant to be done for a long period of time. Now, if you're going to ask me, Dr. Brent, how long should I stick to the advanced plan? Well, until it works. So it could be 30 days. It could be 3 months. I don't know. It's till your body's able to heal. There's a rule. Healing takes time. It's not a magic pill, unfortunately. Okay? So how long you want to stick to this sort of nutrition protocol is just based off of how long it's going to take you to get well. But your body has a thermostat. Does everybody recognize you kind of have a thermostat where your body kind of flows when it comes to weight? You have a bad weekend, it kind of goes up a little bit, and then like throughout the week you get back to normal, and then your weight goes back to normal. Or you kind of do really good, it goes down a little bit, and then like it goes back to normal. Is that anybody else, or is that just me? Yeah. Okay, that's your body's just general health in general. What this goal is trying to do, if you do the challenge or adopt the advanced plan, is trying to lower your thermostat a little bit. So your new thermostat is at a lower, healthier weight. And then you can go back to the core plan and have like a normal, non-restrictive type of nutrition plan, and then we get that's your new normal. So everyone say new normal. New normal. That's our goal. We just want to get a new normal. So how do you do this? Well, you got to remove refined carbohydrates. You want to try to remove things that are going to increase your what hormone? Insulin. The more we can keep our insulin from going up, the more our body can lose weight. We want to increase our healthy fats, remove the damaged fats to reduce that inflammatory response, and to give our body fuel. If you want your body to burn fat for fuel, you have to consume fat. If you don't have fat, your body will try to burn sugar. Does that make sense? And we want to stop burning sugar, we want to burn fat. It's also why we want to develop a metabolic flexibility, so our body can do both. So if you're really good at burning fat because you've done the advanced plan for 30 days or 60 days, if you consume sugar, your body's good at consuming sugar and it'll burn sugar, but then it's easy to go back to its fat burning mode. Do you guys recognize why we have like excess body fat? You know what that is? So, okay. Who feels like it's very easy to overeat? You know, because that's how you're made. God designed you to overeat. Because back in the day, when food was scarce, and you ate feast or famine, when you had food, you ate food. And the goal to eat that food was to consume more calories than you're burning because you want to do what? Pack them on, store it, so that way when you had a famine, you had fuel to burn. Does that make sense? Well, now food is plentiful. I mean, who's ever not ate for a whole day? Okay, some people have. And you did it by choice, I'm guessing. Okay. So, if we can get our body to burn fat for fuel, we'll be able to burn fat stores. This is like your reserve tank. Everyone say reserve tank. If you consume sugar, you will never use your reserve tank. If you have gas in your car with a reserve tank, do they make trucks with reserve tanks anymore? Is that a thing? Well, if you're always just keep putting, if you're like halfway empty, guys, halfway empty, you put gas in, it goes to full, and you do that, and you never let it get below half, you're never burning the bottom half of the tank. I mean, I know it doesn't work just like that, do you guys understand? So we want to be able to burn the whole tank. So, ladies, you're right, you can just let the thing go all the way to E.
All the way to
but that's the idea. Does that make sense? So to use your fat stores, which you have created for a reserve, you've got to be able to burn into it. So you got to make sure you're able to burn fat by eating healthy fat. Switch your proteins, and then we got to eliminate those toxins. So again, really simple: whole food, minimally processed, naturally sourced, and then again, you got to avoid a lot of the added sugars. But weight loss is about influence of those hormones. We got to make sure we reduce our insulin levels by cutting the processed carbohydrates and sugars. On the advanced plane, you're also going to eliminate like fruit that's high on the glycemic index. So like bananas. Now, are bananas good for you? Yeah, for sure. But if you're trying to overcome weight loss resistance or regulate your hormones or start burning fat for fuel and get out of that broken metabolism, you got to eliminate things that are causing your insulin responses. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm not telling you the bananas are bad. I'm telling you that if we're trying to get over the hump into like burning fat for fuel, you've got to eliminate things that are high in the glycemic index. But that's what the advanced plan is, okay? Intermittent fasting. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but who's ever intermittent fast? Oh my gosh, a lot of people. I'm going to go in significantly more depth in the challenge, like in the closed Facebook, on intermittent fasting. There are some amazing benefits to intermittent fasting, but who's never heard of it before? Raise your hand if you've never heard of intermittent fasting. Everybody's heard of it? It's when you just have certain times of the day you don't eat. So like, who like wakes up at midnight and snacks? Don't raise your hand. So when you sleep, you're fasting. That's where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to fast. But there are certain kinds of fasting, like 16 hours is a normal intermittent fast. You basically just skip breakfast. Breakfast, who's ever heard breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Okay, so breaking your fast meal is the most important meal of the day. It is not a morning meal. It is when you break your fast. That's why it's called break fast. So it's not a morning meal, it's the most important meal. That's why you gotta do like a smoothie, because it's amazing, high quality food that allows you to break your fast healthy. You're eating pancakes and syrup, all that sort of stuff, or nitrate-full bacon, like you're feeding yourself into sickness and disease. So benefits real quick: accelerated weight loss because you're allowing to get into your fat stores. Who's ever heard of keto or ketosis? Ketosis is just a fancy way to say that your body is in fat burning mode. Your body breaks fat down into ketones, which are, your body really wants to burn ketones. It works way better than glucose. But to get into there, sometimes not eating helps you get into there quicker. Now, can you get to ketosis and still eat 3 meals a day? Well, of course you can. This is just an accelerated way to do it. It helps to heal the digestion. How would fasting heal your digestion? Because you stop damaging it. Your body's created to heal. If you stop damaging it, it will heal. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're wearing a shoe that's causing a blister, if you just stop wearing the shoe, what happens to the blister? But if you keep wearing the shoe, what happens to the blister? It just keeps getting worse. So if you stop damaging your system by poor nutrition choices or toxicity, your body will heal. Okay, that's just a law of anatomy. Okay, so it increases insulin sensitivity, slows down aging. It does something called increases autophagy. Autophagy is a natural process in your body where your body kills bad cells that are sick or weak. So fasting will increase your body's like burnout or self-destruct button on all the sick cells. If you have cancer, one of the best things you can do is fast. I have one of my mentors, his name is Dr. Dan Pompa, and he's kind of known for fasting and cellular detox. That's like kind of his like niche. He's pretty famous. But his wife had stage 3 cervical cancer and fasted for 30 days and the cancer disappeared. It's amazing what the body will do if you stop damaging it. Now, she was probably doing all sorts of good stuff, like taking supplements, getting adjusted. I mean, Dr. Dan Palma is a chiropractor. So there's lots of things she was doing besides just not eating, but fasting is one of the things that eliminating the stress that allowed her body to regenerate or kill the bad cells, okay? So we're gonna do a 30-day challenge. Please plug yourself in, like Dr. Jill says, don't feel like if you're not gonna do it 100% that you just shouldn't do it. It's not black and white. I'm not expecting everybody to do it 100%. The goal is to just turn that thermostat a little bit. Is everybody down for turning that thermostat just a little bit? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Toxicity. So these are metabolic disruptors or endocrine disruptors. Who's ever had me yell at them for wearing cologne or perfume? Not enough people? Oh my gosh. I know I've done it to more people than just you. Okay, so how long have you been here though? 10 years. A lot of conversations about what not to do and what to do. How many seminars you guys been to? Yeah, lots. Okay. So here's the idea though, is identifying endocrine disruptors. So you have a list that is like the top 20 most toxic exposures. You should have that list in there, so I want you to become familiar with those things. But these are the 7 nasty ones that you need to start to avoid. Unfiltered water. Who's ever seen the movie Aaron Brockovich? Okay, so Norman, literally Aaron Brockovich with the amount of chromium in a minute. So you want to be able to avoid unfiltered water. So you have fluoride, pesticide residue, even medication residue in the water that you're consuming, okay? Or chlorine. See, all these things are just super toxic. So drinking filtered water is critical. You can start with just a Brita filter, or you can get like some advanced filters, or you can do like reverse osmosis, or like the perfect thing is to get like a water filtration system for your house. So that way you're not showering in non-filtered water, because the chlorine that you're breathing in is like drinking 10 cups of water. Or you can just get a $50 thing to put on your shower and buy off of Amazon. So there's different ways to do it, okay? But you want to avoid unfiltered water. I'm also going to throw plastic water in there because of the phthalates. Phthalates will increase your fat storage. So household cleaners, cosmetics, aluminum and heavy metals, which are found in most medications. So on the top 7, understand that medications are probably toward the top of the list because of how many people consume medications. They're chemicals. They're chemicals, okay? So any chemical you're consuming is adding toxicity to the body. It's just if your body can handle it, the stress threshold, until it creates an effect, okay? Non-stick cookware, like Teflon, I don't want you to raise your hand if you use it, but it was supposed to be illegal in 2013. It's still sold. The PFO, OAs or whatever, it is one of the worst things you can do when it comes to overall health, well-being, brain health, and then obviously metabolic function. And then obviously the plastics. So it's easy to switch your household cleaners though. I mean, you're buying cleaners, you can just buy healthier versions. There's an app that we talk about, the EWG app, or the Yucca app, or the Think Dirty app. These are multiple apps you can put on your phone, and these are in the closed group already. But you can use the app to determine how clean or how dirty something is. Okay, but they're easy to make. There's ingredients that you can use. Cosmetics, there are healthy versions of cosmetics. Unfortunately, ladies, you guys are like targeted so hard because guys might use deodorant and some cologne, but look at, you guys have 475 different things that you guys are exposed to on a regular basis. Price you pay to be pretty.
And a lot of these things make you worse over time, depending on the product.
Yeah, the skin
It
health.
doesn't actually help what it promotes.
Super toxic, yeah. So it's creating toxicity in the body. So I know you guys can't read those things, but again, it's something that you can just start to look or move toward as a healthier version of what you're using. And Dr. Jill will walk you through what she uses. I am so extreme, I don't even wear deodorant. I don't wear deodorant. Who thinks I smell real bad when they come to get adjusted though? You can raise your hand. Put your hand down back there. But the idea is that the cleaner you are, the less you stink. Okay? All right. So there's your the top 20 toxins that's in your folder. So being able to identify these things to get them out of your system. And here, I'm just gonna hit on this real hard. There are 2 main causes to disease. Everyone say 2. Toxicity and deficiency. Toxicity and deficiency. Now there are lots of subcategories to those. Deficiency could be in nutrients and minerals and oxygenation or a nerve supply, right? If you have a deficiency in nerve supply to your heart because you have a subluxation or stress on your nerve, your heart gets sick. Toxicity is its own thing. So you need to be able to identify toxicity and how to avoid it, okay? So here are the quickly, we're about to hit into break here in a second. I went over 5 minutes. So the top reasons that will hold you back from losing weight. Too many processed carbs. You're eating too often. Who's ever heard that like you should eat 7 small meals a day? Why do they tell you to do that? To like keep your metabolism going? Because there was this weird thought that if you don't eat, your metabolism gets weaker. That's just not true. If you're constantly putting sugar into the body, guess what you'll never burn? Fat. Just as a side note, my dentist told my little 8-year-old that the reason you're getting cavities is because you're snacking. If you didn't snack and just ate your 3 meals a day and didn't snack in between, you could even have lots of sugar in those meals and you wouldn't get cavities. So just as a side note, okay? So other things that would hold you back is constant stress. Who has stress? If you didn't raise your hand, you're a liar. Okay? So I have something to help with that. Toxicity, accumulation. So again, if you just even if you tomorrow went 100% non-toxic, you still have chemicals in your body that could hold you back from losing weight. Liver issues, so again, if you have liver dysfunction, so from too much sugar, the number one cause of fatty liver is not alcohol, it's fructose. Okay, fructose, so sugar. And then again, you're not exercising enough, or your body is subluxated. There's stress on the nerve going to your thyroid, or your adrenals, or your body isn't functioning properly due to a subluxation or interference in your nervous system. Mental picture. Got that? Okay. Now, when it comes to like cellular healing, because if we're healthy at a cellular level, we're what? We're healthy. So these are very specific nutrients that are going to make sure your body is healthy at a cellular level, so it can be at a healthy weight and lose weight and build health. So selenium helps to repair DNA and DNA synthesis. It's found in nuts, seafood, and organ meats. Alpha-lipoic acid, it regulates vitamins of CE and glutathione. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It is what's going to help you protect from free radical damage. Everyone say free radicals. Free radicals. Here's a quick example. Who's heard that sunburns cause cancer? Who's heard that? Raise your hand. Okay, so that's not how that works. The sun causes damage to your skin. The damage creates free radicals from the damage to the cells. The free radicals damage DNA. DNA allows the bad RNA replication, which leads to cancer. Can everybody follow that? If you have enough antioxidants, it neutralizes the free radical. So you get sunburnt, you get the damage, the free radical is created, the antioxidant neutralizes the free radical so you do not get damage to the DNA. So if you're protecting your DNA with enough antioxidants, you're not allowing the damage to cause cancer. Does that make sense? So that's why things like glutathione are so critical to protect yourself against free radicals. It also helps with chelates, so detoxing of heavy metals. It's found in red meat, spinach, broccoli. Glycine is an antioxidant. It supports liver detoxification. They're also found in red meats, organ meats, fish, bone, broth. Biobotanicals, regenerative organ, milk thistle, regenerative organ. This is a cherry. Is that right? We just looked that up.
Yes.
Cherry. Okay, cherry. Garlic, clove, and spinach. These are things that you want to consume on a regular basis to make sure you're protecting your cells from damage and building cancer. Now, one of the new supplements that we just created was specifically all those ingredients. So if you have free radical exposure, if you have toxicity exposure or stress exposures, this might be the supplement that you want to start to take on a consistent basis to protect your cells from getting damaged in bad RNA replication, okay? Max Fit. Max Fit is part of the initial bundle because it has something called ashwagandha. Everyone say ashwagandha. I just wanted to hear you try to say that word. It is what's called an adaptogen herb. So those who have stress, raise your hand again. If you didn't raise your hand, you're lying. Ashwagandha is an herb that helps to minimize the negative effects of cortisol, which is a stress hormone that causes damage. It also causes your body to store fat. So if you have lots of stress and high levels of cortisol, guess what you don't burn? It's impossible. The hormone switches. You cannot burn fat if you have high insulin. You cannot burn fat if you have high cortisol. Okay? So ashwagandha is an adaptogen herb that helps to minimize the negative effects of stress. So if you consume things like ashwagandha, even though you have the stress, it doesn't cause the weight loss resistance. Because it's nice to get rid of all the stress. Who wants to get rid of all the stress? Oh my gosh, do not look at your partner. That's the stress. Don't pray for the easy life. Pray for the life, for the health and strength to endure a good one. You don't want to get rid of your stresses. Some of your greatest joys in life are your greatest stresses. Yes or yes? What you don't want is the stress that causes you to have weight loss resistance or build disease. So again, MaxFit is one of the reasons why it's in the initial bundle. So the other bundle, the other part of that initial bundle is that protein. And again, it's because I want to encourage you guys to break your fast with something healthy that's going to minimize the hunger to allow you to start that metabolic pathway. Okay, so that's why this is in just the regular bundle. Okay, now this is in the advanced bundle. Everyone say advanced. If you know you're toxic, or you've been someone who's been exposed to lots of chemicals from whether you're female or just whatever, the advanced bundle also has the detox system and the metabolic burn. This is for someone who's really serious about trying to lose weight, who really wants that extra kick to make sure their metabolic function is improving to burn fat. So the detox system works in two ways. It's a cell detox, so it has your organ detoxifiers, your chlorella, your milk thistle, your dandelion root extract. It's your glutathione precursors to maximize your body's ability to burn them, to build those antioxidants. And then the second part is the body detox, which is what binds to the toxins to safely remove them out of your system. Now, it's not a cleanse. It's not like you're going to take this and end up in the bathroom all weekend. Okay? It's not how that works. But it is going to help you remove the toxins so your body can burn fat. If you have toxins, which toxins are stored in fat cells. It is a defense mechanism because the body's intelligent. If you're putting toxins into the system, the body will put those in fat cells to make sure you're not building cancer. But if you try to lose weight, exercise, and eat right, and those toxins are still there, it's like a rebound effect. You lose 10 pounds and then boom, it comes right back, because that's where your thermostat is. The body doesn't want to change your fat cells. In fact, literally your DNA expression changes due to chemical exposure to build more fat. Your DNA changes to build fat if you have chemical exposure. So if you want to get those toxins out so that those fat cells can be burnt, then the detox system is something that will really help to aid in that process. The metabolic burn, this is just one of those things that just helps to activate fat burning and glucose management. So again, if you're just looking for that extra help, I'm not saying there's an easy button, but if I'm trying to really cut like that extra weight because it's like wedding season or something, like this is something that I'll take, okay? Here's your order forms. If you want to fill those out, we're going to take a quick break. Hand those in like Dr. Jill said. You're not going to get your supplement bundle right away. You're going to turn in that order. The goals will prep it so you guys can get on your way out. Also, if you're not getting supplements, make sure you're putting your email address at the top so you can get into that closed group. And then make sure you're going to get that raffle. So again, that's all going to happen at the table. Supplements are, how much off are they? Say it on your sheet. Is it 20% off?